The first thing every spy realizes is that intelligence isn't a number, it's a weapon. And the second thing they learn is that almost no one truly knows how powerful their mind actually is. Before we go deeper, hit like, share this with someone who loves psychology, and subscribe for more hidden human behavior secrets intelligence agencies would never openly teach. And tell me in the comments, have you ever felt like your brain works differently from other people, but you can't fully explain how? I want to see how you think. Most people have been raised on a boring lie that intelligence is fixed, that you're either born smart or you're not. That one number defines you forever. But spies don't think like that. CIA, MI6, Mossad, and every elite intelligence service operate with a totally different rule. Intelligence, IS&T, about being smart. It's about understanding your unique cognitive pattern and learning how to weaponize it. This is what psychologists call individual differences in intelligence, and it's the foundation of modern espionage. Spies aren't just trained to gather information. They're trained to understand how people think, how they think, and how different minds create different strengths. And here, as the truth, you, Dan T, need to be a spy to use this. Anyone can learn these patterns if they know what to look for. Imagine walking into a room and instantly sensing who's confident, who's insecure, who's hiding something, who's easily influenced, who will panic under pressure, who will never betray you, and who will betray you the moment they're scared. Imagine making decisions with clarity, even in chaos, controlling your emotions when others fall apart, seeing patterns before they form, and reading others with such accuracy it almost feels unfair. This is not fiction, this is psychology. The first thing intelligence agencies measure is how your mind performs under pressure. Because pressure reveals your real processing style. Some people think faster when stressed. Others slow down but become more precise. During CIA assessment, candidates face chaotic tasks, alarms, time limits, sudden changes. The goal isn't perfection. It's to watch how your intelligence reorganizes itself when the world becomes unpredictable. A person who becomes sharper under stress has a different kind of intelligence than someone who becomes calmer. The point isn't to judge you, it's to understand your natural mental rhythm. You have your own cognitive rhythm too, but most people never discover it. Fast thinkers respond instantly, making quick decisions and adapting instantly. Slow, deep thinkers take longer, but see connections others miss. One isn't better than the other. Spies with high-speed cognition work well in field operations, while deep thinkers excel in analysis, signals, and decoding hidden patterns. Your strength depends on recognizing which one you are. Another difference spies pay attention to is whether you're an external or internal processor. External thinkers absorb everything around them: movement, tone, microexpressions, shifts in energy. This makes them great at reading rooms and detecting lies. Internal thinkers focus on patterns inside their mind, motives, meaning, strategy. These are the people who understand what others really want, even when they hide it. Together, they form the core of human intelligence work. In everyday life, external thinkers are often socially sharp, while internal thinkers are strategically sharp. Both types are essential. You just need to know which one your brain naturally gravitates toward. Then comes your interrogation profile, how you react when questioned. Some people get defensive, others get overly honest, some get analytical, some get emotional, some shut down. Intelligence agencies study this because your reaction under questioning reveals your deepest cognitive habits. You can learn a lot about yourself by noticing what happens when someone challenges you. Do you explain, deflect, get emotional, or become cold and logical? Understanding this can help you resist manipulation and control your image in high-pressure conversations. Another powerful intelligence difference is pattern recognition. Spies who are naturally good at spotting patterns can detect deception, dangers, inconsistencies, and hidden intentions faster than the average person. They often sense something is wrong before they consciously understand why. If you've ever had a gut feeling that later turned out to be right, this is part of that skill. But even if you're not strong at intuition, you might excel at procedural intelligence, the ability to master systems, rules, and structured operations. These individuals are the backbone of intelligence work because they ensure missions don't fall apart. One of the most underestimated forms of intelligence is emotional regulation, the ability to think clearly while feeling intense emotions. Spies with this ability remain calm under fear, anger, or stress. But emotional expressiveness can be equally powerful. Some of the best intelligence assets are people who appear emotionally open, even vulnerable, because it makes others trust them instantly. Intelligence comes in many forms, and your emotional style is one of your strongest indicators. Finally, cognitive adaptability, the ability to shift strategies instantly, is one of the rarest intelligence superpowers. When plans collapse, adaptable thinkers don't freeze, they pivot. They stop fighting reality and start reshaping themselves to reality. These are the people who survive unpredictable environments, and intelligence agencies value them more than almost any other type of mind. By now, you should already be seeing the pattern. Intelligence is not about one ability. It's not about IQ or school grades. It's not about how fast you can learn facts. Intelligence is your personal cognitive blueprint, a unique constellation of strengths that can become powerful once you recognize them. Spies succeed not because they are perfect, but because they understand how their minds work. And once you understand your own, you begin to think clearer, decide faster, listen better, predict deeper, and navigate the world with an edge most people never develop. If the first half showed you how spies understand the architecture of their intelligence, this second half will show you how they use it, how they upgrade their thinking, sharpen perception, control emotional storms, decode people in seconds, and develop a kind of cognitive clarity that feels almost unfair in the real world. Because once you understand your intelligence differences, the next step is to turn them into tools. And the spy world is built on tools the average person never learns. One of the first tools is what intelligence agencies call cognitive reframing under pressure. Most people collapse mentally when their expectations break. They say things like, "This is going wrong," or "I can't handle this," or "This is too much." Spies are trained differently. When things collapse, missions, conversations, plans, they immediately shift the meaning of the situation instead of reacting to the emotion. A stressful moment becomes data. A chaotic scene becomes an opportunity. A threat becomes information. This mental shift is not natural, it's trained. But once you learn it, life changes. Every problem becomes a puzzle. Every setback becomes feedback. And this skill isn't reserved for operatives. You can practice it daily by focusing on what a situation means instead of how it makes you feel. The second tool is deception detection through baseline deviation, something few people understand deeply. Most people think lie detection is about spotting a specific behavior, looking away, fidgeting, sweating. But spies know the truth. Every person has a baseline, a natural way of speaking, blinking, breathing, pausing, and thinking. Deception only appears when that baseline shifts. Some people talk faster when lying. Others talk slower. Some provide too many details. Others give none. Some get overly calm. Others get restless. This is why spies study people for a few minutes before making any judgments. Once you understand how someone behaves normally, you can detect micro-shifts instantly. You can use this in your own life to observe people without assumptions, learn their rhythm, and you'll see the truth behind their words, clearer than ever. Another core tool is mental segmentation, separating feelings from analysis. Average people mix them when they're sad. Their decisions reflect sadness. When insecure, their actions reflect insecurity. When angry, their thoughts distort. Spies are trained to split their internal experience into segments so that their emotions hijack their reasoning. Notice, this doesn't mean they suppress emotions, it means they isolate them. They can feel fear while thinking rationally. They can feel anger without acting aggressively. They can feel pressure without losing precision. This is one of the hardest intelligence tools to master because it requires self-awareness, patience, and discipline. But once you learn it, everything from conversations to conflicts to career decisions becomes clearer and more controlled. Then there's mental pattern stacking, a technique used heavily in intelligence analysis. Spies learn to combine different types of intelligence at the same time: pattern recognition, situational awareness, motive prediction, emotional tone reading, and contextual memory. Instead of relying on a single clue, they layer multiple clues until a clear picture forms. This is why spies often notice things others miss, because they're not looking for one sign, they're comparing many inputs at once. You can practice this in daily life by asking yourself questions like, what changed in their tone? What changed in the environment? What do I know about this pattern from the past? What outcome is most likely based on these pieces? When you stack patterns instead of observing one at a time, your mind becomes sharper, faster, more strategic. Another tool spies use is cognitive empathy, not emotional empathy, but the ability to understand how someone thinks without agreeing or sympathizing. This kind of empathy lets spies predict what someone will do next, what they will fear, what they will trust, and what they will avoid. It requires stepping outside your own perspective and entering theirs, even if you don't share their emotions or beliefs. This is one of the most powerful intelligence skills because it allows you to influence others subtly, without force or manipulation. Once you can see the world through their mind, you can guide conversations, negotiate better, de-escalate conflicts, and build trust with almost anyone. Now we go to one of the rarest, most valuable cognitive tools, controlled intuition. Most people have intuition, gut feelings, sudden insights, quiet signals, but spies learn to distinguish between real intuition based on unconscious pattern recognition and false intuition driven by fear or bias. Real intuition comes from your brain connecting signals so fast you don't consciously notice them. Fake intuition comes from insecurities, assumptions, or emotional reactions. Learning the difference is crucial. You develop this skill by asking yourself, is this intuition based on evidence I've seen before? Or is it based on a feeling I can't explain? Over time, you begin to trust the right gut signals and ignore the wrong ones. This makes your perception sharper and your decisions more accurate. One of the most underrated tools is selective focus, something every intelligence operative masters early. The human mind is easily overloaded. Most people try to observe everything and end up observing nothing. Spies focus on the right things, the inconsistencies, the shifts, the anomalies. They know that the truth rarely hides in the obvious. It hides in the details that break the pattern. In your life, selective focus means paying attention to the things that actually reveal meaning, the way someone responds to pressure, what they avoid talking about, how their energy shifts when topics change, the small details that don't align. When you train your mind to focus selectively, you conserve energy and gain clarity. Now comes a deeper layer, cognitive dark zones, areas of thinking where you're naturally blind. Every person has blind spots. Some people miss emotional signals. Some miss logical contradictions. Some miss social cues. Some miss long-term consequences. Spies identify their own blind zones early and work around them by pairing with people who think differently. You can do the same by asking yourself, what do I usually fail to notice? What patterns do I consistently miss? Where does my thinking become biased? Once you know your blind zone, you stop making the same mistakes again and again. We also need to talk about mental discipline, something intelligence agencies enforce relentlessly. Discipline isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. It means controlling your focus, training your attention, sharpening your recall, practicing observation, managing your emotional impulses, and refining your decision-making. Discipline turns intelligence from a potential into a power. Without discipline, even a brilliant mind becomes chaotic. With discipline, even an average mind becomes exceptional. One more tool, arguably one of the most important, is self-profiled intelligence optimization. Spies don't try to become good at everything. That's impossible. They identify the intelligence types they naturally excel at and build their operational identity around those strengths. Some spies become masters of decoding. Some become masters of persuasion. Some become masters of prediction. Some become masters of evasion. Some become masters of reading people. This is the real secret. The moment you stop trying to be everything and start refining what you're naturally good at, your intelligence skyrockets. You become sharper, faster, more confident, and more accurate in your decisions. And that brings everything together. Spies succeed not because they are geniuses, but because they understand their cognitive fingerprint at a deep level. They know how they think, why they think that way, and what their mind does under pressure. When you understand your own intelligence differences, you stop comparing yourself to others. You stop copying their strategies. You stop believing you're limited. Instead, you begin developing the version of intelligence that only you possess. And that version, when mastered, becomes a force. So if you've been paying attention to both parts, you now understand the same foundation real intelligence operatives use to navigate chaos. Read people, control their mind, detect deception, and make decisions with clarity. You understand their tools, their psychology, and the cognitive principles that you can apply to everyday life. whether it's relationships, business, negotiation, conflict, or personal growth. If you found this valuable, if you learned something new about yourself, and if you want more deep psychological breakdowns like this, make sure you like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe for more hidden human behavior lessons they never teach you in school.